Alright, so this is gonna be a long one. And with the final season of My Hero Academia right around the corner, I thought to myself, I wanna make a whole video talking about Peak. Disclaimer, I will not be going over every single event that happened in season 1 through 7, only the most important moments to me, and to maybe refresh some people's memory if they haven't seen the show in a while and wanna feel caught up for the final season. Without further ado, let's go. My Hero Academia. Damn, I was in high school when this shit dropped. To start at the beginning, it all started with quirks. They are unique superpowers that most people are born with, ranging from elemental control to physical mutations. With over 80% of the population having these abilities, shape society with heroes using them for good, while villains would use them for chaos. Our story begins with a quirkless boy named Izuku Midoriya, aka crybaby ass nigga, aka Deku, called by his childhood bully Bakugo, which so happens to be in the same class, and end up both applying to go to the same high school, UA, one of the most prestigious schools in the country. Later on, Midoriya ends up getting snatched up by a villain, and just in the nick of time, his favorite hero, and the #1 hero All Might saves him. He follows him like the fanboy he is, and finds out about All Might's secret. He got injured a few years ago, and it limited his abilities for how he can stay in his human form. Bakugo gets caught lacking, and Midoriya tries to save him, but All Might finishes the job. So he decides to choose Midoriya to get his quirk One for All, which has been passed down and had previous successors. Of course, Midoriya takes that shit while crying, and his training arc began for 10 months, and he went through the entrance exams. He used his quirk for the first time, and destroyed his arm in the process, but later on, got accepted into UA. Not gonna lie, what Uraraka said here was so funny, I'ma just play the clip.
You know that boy with the really messy hair and all the freckles? It's hard to describe his face. He's kind of plain looking. Doesn't really stand out or anything, you know?
She means me.
Afterwards, the first day started, and I still don't know why they got this big ass door. Mad extra. Midoriya meets his classmates, and of course, Bakugo is in his class. They meet their teacher, Mr. Aizawa, whose hero name is Eraserhead. He can erase someone's quirk as long as he doesn't blink. Low-key tough. The class does their first test, and this motherfucker was about to cook his arm again, but Aizawa stopped him like, bro, ain't learned his lesson. Then Midoriya decided to improvise and changed his method and put all his power into his finger to make the ball go far. Eraserhead couldn't believe that shit, looking like a proud father. Later in the whole class meets All Might, who also is another teacher at UA at his alma mater wearing his old suit. He tells the students they're about to do some combat training. During the training, it was against their fellow classmates in teams of 2, heroes versus villains. The heroes got to stop a bomb from going off within a time limit, and Midoriya got paired with Uraraka, going up against, yep, you guessed it, Bakugo and his teammate Ida. Ida was trying to strategize, but Bakugo wasn't trying to hear it. I would have hated to be on Bakugo's team, man. That nigga wasted no time looking for Midoriya. Since he can't control One for All, he's decided not to use it, which is fair. Bakugo finds him and deals the first strike. Midoriya saves Uraraka from the blast in time, deciding to take him one-on-one. Bakugo comes to swing, but Midoriya catches it and flips his ass over. Boy came ready. Bakugo was raging, mad as fuck. Ida tried communicating, but it was useless with this man. In one ear and out the other. I would have crashed out too, Ida. Bakugo comes in again with a leg kick, this time, and Midoriya blocks and Uraraka gets away to find the bomb. Bakugo comes in with a punch to blow this nigga head off, but he gets away just in time and runs off. Uraraka finds Ida and his ass monologuing like a real villain. Uraraka can't take him serious and bursts out laughing, giving away her location. We cut back to Midoriya ready for Bakugo, but he pops up behind him and ready his shot, and it is way stronger than usual, like can kill him usual. He gets his shot off and sends Midoriya flying, creating a whole hole in the building. Midoriya survives the blast, and Bakugo starts walking him down mad as hell, like, how the fuck you survived that shit? I want you dead, nigga.
This nigga is crazy.
Uraraka uses her power to make her float, but misses the bomb as Ida uses his speed to move it at the last moment. Bakugo comes in flying with murder on his mind. Gets us a blast off, but uses it to change his direction mid-air to blast this nigga Midoriya in the back. Holy, the move was so clean, they had to show it again in slow motion. Comes back to love tap him, and gets his get back by slamming him in the ground. Bakugo started talking crazy when Midoriya wasn't backing down. He got my respect for that. They both go for a final strike, but Midoriya used his One for All, but instead of using it to attack, he directed Bakugo's attack upwards to where Uraraka was. She locked in and used her power, faked out an attack towards Ida and floated onto the bomb to win the match. Midoriya ended up passing out, but hey, he got the dub. Later on, the class had to do rescue training, and they had a whole dome set up for this. We got to meet 13, who was a natural disaster hero. All Might was supposed to be there, but did some hero shit for a whole hour before coming. Shit was looking cool as fuck. Until some villains showed up, called the League of Villains, led by Tomura Shigaraki. A whole bunch start popping out as well as this big ass creature he calls a Nomu. And can't lie, it was a cool entrance. Posted up with Kurogiri in the Nomu. Eraserhead wasted no time and jumped down to handle these niggas. Buddy and these two thought they could handle him, but they in for a rude awakening. Eraserhead comes running in right before this goon gets his shot off. He erases all their quirks, and they confused as fuck while their quirks not working, but all get wrapped up and slammed into each other. Big boy here thought he was finna do something. Eraserhead ducks all them punches and drops this nigga and sends him flying. Grabs him in the air, dodges Buddy's attack, and kicks him in the head. He falls on some other villains while Eraserhead slams old boy back down onto them. Kurogiri pulls up on the students, but 13 was ready to swallow this nigga up with the black hole. Bakugo and Kirishima had different ideas and tried to attack, which I don't know why they thought that was finna do something. Kurogiri starts to separate the students to different spots in the dome. Midoriya gets sent into the water in the shipwreck area and tries to swim, but a villain comes to eat this nigga, but Sue came in just in time to save his ass. Uses her tongue to grab him out the water, and yes, she got frog powers. I can see the Ayo comments already. Oh yeah, Mineta here too. We get introduced to the principal, but we get to see more of him later. Ida uses his speed to get out of there to get help from the rest of the pro hero teachers. Midoriya comes up with a plan for the three to get away from the villains in the water. He jumps up and uses his smash and creates a massive whirlpool. Sue grabs him, and Mineta uses his quirk, which is his balls on his head, to stick to the villains, and they all get sucked in. The other students like Shoto Todoroki, my twin, was putting in work using his ice. Another area, Jiro pushes Kaminari to use his quirk to shock all the villains. Momo uses her quirk to create a net to drop this villain on top of Kaminari's electricity. Meanwhile, Eraserhead is still putting belt to ass. Shigaraki decides to step in and gets gut checked. Midoriya and them happy as hell until Eraserhead got cooked. Shigaraki broke this nigga elbow. He found out Eraserhead's hair goes down when he's not using his quirk. He tries to get away but sadly gets cooked by the Nomu. 13 sadly got cooked too by Kurogiri's warp. After that, since their objective was to get All Might, they decided to leave. But Shigaraki said, fuck it, I'm leaving with something. But just before he could take out Sue, Eraserhead stopped him, but gets his head slammed down into the ground. Midoriya was about to go in to hit Shigaraki and his arm is fine, but the Nomu eats it and does no damage. It was looking GG's until All Might popped through the door. He was ready to defend his students. Wasted no time fighting that Nomu. They was going punch for punch, hit for hit. Nomu gets a hit in on All Might's injured side. They continue to walk him down and sends it flying. They both come at each other. All Might blocks. He kicks it in the air, grabs its arm, and slams it in the ground. It comes down to send it flying out of the dome into the sky. Say goodbye. All Might starts talking his shit to Shigaraki, but he says fuck it and takes the bait to come and attack him. But Midoriya comes to sacrifice his body to save him. Shigaraki tries to grab him, but in the last second, the other pro heroes came to save the day, and they was putting belt to ass, making quick work of these goons. Shigaraki gets shot even more. Kurogiri helps him slip out of there. Back at the base, Shigaraki was cooked. Nigga was bleeding all over the place. But then we discover he's not working alone. This nigga has a master talking to him through the fucking TV. And he's talking about some you will get your get back, my boy. Back at the school, we found out that everyone actually survived and no one died, and taking time to recover. And that was all just season 1. Now, on to season 2! Mr. Aizawa tells the class that the UA Sports Festival is coming up, one of the most watched events in the world where all the students in the school compete. All Might wants to talk to Midoriya privately about One For All. He tells him he can only use it for 50 minutes a day, and one day he's gonna have to retire as a symbol of peace. That Midoriya has to be ready for the sports festival and to show the world that he is here. I'm not gonna lie, I ain't going over everything in the sports festival. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to the finals at the end because they peak. Shoto pulled Midoriya to the side to press him because he noticed his and All Might's quirk are similar and asked him if he's All Might's secret love child. Of course he denies it, but starts to tell him about his father. He's the number 2 hero, Endeavor, aka my GOAT. Cry about it. Yes, I'm aware he made Shoto just so he can be the number 1 hero to surpass All Might, because he can't do it himself, so he might not be the best dad ever, but at least he had a father. Some people can't say the same. So despite his dad, Shoto decides he doesn't want to use his fire on his left side. Now to the first match, Midoriya versus Shinso. Out the gate, Shinso was talking crazy about Midoriya classmate Ojiro, calling him a Midoriya wasn't taking that racism, talking back, but Shinso caught him lacking. Shinso's quirk is brainwashing, so if you respond to him, he can command you to do whatever he tells you to. Midoriya started to walk out of the ring, but at the last second, that plot kicked in. He saw the previous holders of One for All that helped him to break out of the brainwashing by breaking his fingers. Shinso tried to get him again, but he was not falling for it this time, and came back to start pushing this nigga out in the ring. Shinso punches him, he eats it, and keeps going while Shinso decks him in the hand and starts to push him, but Midoriya grabs him and flips him out of the ring for the dub. Shoto was walking out for his match, but his dad was there waiting for him, talking about when you gonna start using that left side, boy? You know that's why I made you. But Shoto was not having it. He was ready to prove him wrong, saying he don't need it, and only gonna use his mom's side. He was about to face Sero, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this was belt to ass. Sero got his tape to wrap the Todoroki, but that was short-lived, as he whipped out that ice and covered half the fucking stadium. Easy ass win, twin. Next was Bakugo versus Uraraka, and I don't know who did this draw, but fuck it. She comes running in, but Bakugo was not wasting no time blowing her away with his explosions. Bro saw her uniform and sent another explosion, but it was a fake. She came from behind and sadly got blown away again and again and again. Shit was becoming a hard watch. Uraraka drops all the rubble that she floated from the earlier blast and starts coming in for an attack at the same time, but Bakugo's blast sends her and everything else flying. She tries to get back up and try again, but she fainted, and it was GG's. Next it was Midoriya and Shota, and ooh, boy, this fight was peak. Todoroki sends the first wave of ice and sends another one, encounters that one with another finger, then again and again. Then Shota decides to close the distance. Midoriya dodges and starts to attack with a whole punch, this time sending Shoto back. Shoto sends more ice and Midoriya starts his fingers on his other hand to send him back. This boy was wrecking his body. Shoto comes back in close and Midoriya gets his punch off right in Shoto's gut, but he was able to ice up his left arm to make it hurt even more. That's when they start going back and forth until Midoriya gets a smash off with the thumb in his mouth. Starts to come towards Shoto, and that's when he started seeing flashbacks from when he was 5 years old, bruh. Midoriya gets a hit in on him. Bro had siblings and couldn't even play with them because of his dad. That's when Midoriya hit him with the
"It's yours! Your quirk, not his!"
Yes, sir. He started to lock him over his fire. Damn, that shit was beautiful. And of course, Endeavor happy as hell, like, yeah, Shoto, that's it. Use my quirk. Bro stomped with his ice at the same time too. What a shot. Sends an attack at Midoriya and he does the same and big blast hits. When the smoke clears, Midoriya is down. Shoto moves on. I'm skipping to the finals. We got Bakugo and my twin. Twin starts it off with his ice. And Bakugo was moving and blocking them shits, but it wasn't enough. Psych! He broke that shit. Dodges Todoroki's attack, palms his head like a basketball, and sends him flying, but Shoto catches himself. Bakugo starts talking crazy, wanting Shoto to use his fire, and he pulls it out, but ended up pump faking. It takes Bakugo's attack, making him the winner of the UA Sports Festival. Not gonna hold you, that nigga was not happy at all, crashing out like a dog. During the festival, Tenya was trying to call his brother, but he ain't pick up, and we cut to his brother, Hero Ingenium, in an alley with the hero killer Stain. Later, he got a call from his mom saying that his brother Tensei is in the hospital, and the villain got him. Then we see this nigga licking his bloody ass sword, and of course the League of Villains want to talk to him. After the festival, Shoto decides to go see his mother in the hospital. Later on, Ida comes back to class and says his brother will be fine. Class 1A are about to pick their hero names and start interning with the pros from the offers they got. Lastly was Midoriya, who decided to go by Deku. After classes was done, Aizawa saw that Ida chose an agency that was close to where his brother got attacked by Stain. All Might tells Midoriya that an old hero named Gran Torino that used to teach at UA when he was there wants to train him. He pulls up to his crib and sees this nigga dead on the floor. Just kidding. Old ass man, but he quick as fuck because of his quirk. It's in no time starting the training. Ida was on the prowl looking for Stain while he's talking to Shigaraki and does not fuck with him at all. Midoriya masters his training on controlling One for All. You find out the person that could be behind the Nomus or someone All Might has fought before. Stain crashes out and attacks Kurogiri and Shigaraki, but Shigaraki wasn't playing that shit. And since they both want All Might, they said, I'm gonna do my own thing. While Stain takes off, Shigaraki brings out even more Nomus. While Deku and Gran Torino was traveling, the Nomu attacked the damn train. Gran Torino packed that motherfucker up quick as hell. Meanwhile, Stain got his next victim and Ida came at the last second but sold. He was talking though, trying to get his get back for his brother. While Gran Torino was still putting belt to ass, Endeavor pulled up too. He came with his son, an agency looking for Stain. This man Ida was getting stabbed up. Bro started getting flashbacks. It was looking GG's. But Deku came through as a W-Mans, starts applying pressure, dodges under, and gets a smash off, but gets paralyzed since he got cut and Stain licked his blood. Shoto pulled up and started keeping Stain at bay, but Stain threw a knife at him and cut him, and he jumps up just to get him back. But Shoto uses his ice to block him and keep him back. Just enough time for Midoriya to get back up, grab Stain, and drags him. The Stain gut checks him. Shoto came ready to attack again. Shoto is throwing everything at Stain. He telling Ida to lock in and beat Ingenium. And that's what he did, kicking him back. Stain comes back and Shoto shoots fire and ice to keep him away. Ida takes the knife, protecting Shoto. Deku charges up a smash, Ida pulls out the blade, and they both combine for a final blow on Stain. But that the hero killer is stopped until a Nomu grabs Deku and Stain saves him. His aura was making everybody frozen in place until he went into cardiac arrest. Later on, the three boys are at the hospital, and that's when the chief of Hosu City comes through, and it's a dog? Yeah, they got animals in their police force. He tells them that Endeavor will take the credit for taking down Stain since they acted unlawfully, since they aren't pro heroes yet, and doesn't want the media to be on UA's dick. Word started to spread about Stain, and the internet went crazy, inspiring some villains to seek out Tomura's League of Villains. Then after all that, they took their exams and then the practical exam, where the students were teams of two going up against a teacher, and Deku and Bakugo had to go up against All Might. There was 2 ways to win: to put the cuffs on the teacher or escape to the escape zone. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna go over this quick, and to sum it up, Bakugo did not want to do no teamwork and got cooked by All Might. It was bad. Bro was getting his ass beat. God damn, call CPS or something. But in the end, Deku clutched up and they escaped and passed. W season. Time for season 3. So it's summer camp, or should I say training camp, as they're going into the mountains. Along the way, they meet 2 out of the 4 members of the Wild Wild Pussycats, the owners of the land, and their training gets started right then and there. The students get sent down and they get the task of making it to camp through the forest, going up against monsters that Pixie Bop created using her quirk. Not gonna hold you, Class 8 was cooking. They made sure everybody got their shine, putting belt to ass. They end up making it to camp. Damn, they took a minute. Deku asks who the little kid, and he's Mandalay's cousin's child, Koda. Deku tries to say hi, but get hit in the nuts. Later, we find out why he being a badass little kid. Turns out his parents died. They were both heroes, and it's why he hates heroes. Valid, to be honest. We find out the entire camp is for the class to train and get better with their quirks, and Class 1B joins them too. We see the students hard at work. Later on, Deku tries to give dinner to Koda, but he wasn't having it. Then before you know it, the League of Villains pulled up while the students was doing the exercise. They wasted no time getting these niggas. Gas starts coming and spreading through the forest, as well as fire by Dabi. They was ready. Pixie Bop gets dropped by 2 of them. Aizawa had to pull up outside just to see what was going on. Dabi pulled up and gave this man fire to his face. Midoriya decided to go get Koda. Momo made masks for the students that were out there where the gas was. Tetu decides to go after the one who's making the gas with Kendo. The villain spawned where Koda was at, and looking at him, he realized it was Muscular, the villain who killed his parents. Just in the nick of time, Midoriya saved that nigga. Muscular had the green light to kill Deku, wasted no time to get a hit off, and sends him into the wall. After that, he asks, "Hey man, you know where a kid named Bakugo is?" Now we know why they're here. He tries to attack him, but Deku dodges, but Muscular comes back and kicks him to send him flying. Deku gets back up to get a smash off, but it does no damage. Muscular just slaps that weak shit away. He jumps trying to attack him again, but Deku gets away, but not for long to get knocked into the ground. Bro was like, "Damn, you weak as fuck." Koda threw a pebble at him to try to get his attention. It took long enough for Deku to launch for a smash. This time using 100%. He gets a hand stuck, but able to use that to land the blow. The force was so strong, Koda started flying, but Deku saved him by his shirt with his mouth. That's when we see Deku's arm is cooked. He's only able to use 5% without hurting himself, but Muscular wasn't done. He got up and healed himself. Even Deku couldn't believe it. He starts to launch at them, but Deku gets Koda away. Turns around and comes at them again, but misses. He gets up and starts to charge up, and they both come at each other. Muscular is pushing him down lower and lower until he succeeds. Then water comes out, and it was Koda's quirk that was enough to get Deku to push back up and land his smash at 1,000,000%. Detroit, Delaware smash. Pack that big buff nigga up. In that moment, Deku became Koda's hero. We cut back to Aizawa dodging Dabi attack and erases his quirk, palms his ass and slams him down and breaks both his arms. Some of the students made it back to camp, but Dabi breaks free, but it was a clone the entire time. Aizawa goes on ahead to Mandalay. Turns out the person who made the clone was twice. Deku runs into Aizawa and tells him to take Koda, but Aizawa tells him to tell Mandalay something for him. Tiger and Mandalay still boxing. Deku comes through and helps out and tells Mandalay to use her telepath to tell everyone they have permission to use their powers. Tetsu getting shot up, but Kendo steps in and pops this dude in the mouth, and she starts waving the gas away just enough time for Tetsu to punch old boy. The gas disappears. Toga freaky ad cut Uraraka and starts coming towards them. They trying to collect some blood. Su gets Uraraka out the way, but sadly Su gets caught lacking. Uraraka coming back for her, and Toga misses her attack, and Uraraka puts her down with the technique she learned at her internship. Toga was still able to get some blood though. Deku and others came as backup, but she got up out of there. But before that, she saw Deku.
Treat me like Ortiz, don't get me dirty.
One of the villains, Mr. Compress, came up from behind them and tells them he has Bakugo and Tokoyami. Boy, Deku was mad as fuck crashing out. Shoto tries to attack him with his ice, but he flies away. Anomu was about to attack Owase and Momo, but it stopped once it got comms that the mission is complete. Momo made a transmitter to give to Owase to put on the Nomu before it got away. While Tiger and Mandalay got Magna and Spinner held down, Kurogiri pulls up to bring them back. The group is chasing Mr. Compress, and the three boys decided to get launched by Uraraka and Su's quirk combined. Su flung them, and they crashed right into the ground in front of the rest of the league. Dabi wasted no time to blow these boys back. They started to duke it out while Toga started fiending for Deku. Shoji saved his ass. Mr. Compress tried to grab the marbles. He had Bakugo and Tokoyami in, but Soji grabbed them. So they tried to run away, but Kurogiri pulled up to warp the league out of there. Mr. Compress still had the two as he revealed he had them in his mouth. Pause. Bro hit his bow, but a laser beam shot out of nowhere hit him in the mask. It was Ayama lurking. Mr. Compress drops them. Shoji and Shoto reaches for them both. Soji grabs Tokoyami and Shoto almost gets Bakugo. Dabi snatched him quick as fuck. Deku trying to catch up, but it's too late as they disappear. While in the hospital, Kirishima tells the group they should try to get Bakugo back themselves. Johto and him saw Momo give All Might the receiver she made to follow the Nomu yesterday. The police contacted the heroes Endeavor, Best Genius, Headshot, Gang Orca, Gran Torino, Tiger, Kamui Woods, and Mount Lady to help in the operation. Kirishima, Shoto, Momo, Deku, and Ida for the group to go save Bakugo. We see Bakugo chained up while Shigaraki trying to convince him to join the League of Villains. He was not having it. The operation will have two groups go to two different hideouts to find Bakugo. The group made it to one of the hideouts and found the other Nomu being made. Someone knocks on the league's door saying pizza delivery, and boom! All Might comes through the wall, as well as Kamui Woods to wrap up the villains. They had the whole hideout on lock from outside too. Mount Lady lifted a truck and crushed that motherfucker through the other hideout building where the Nomu are. Tiger finds Ragdoll. Shigaraki starts seeing flashbacks of his master when he was a kid. That's how you know it's bad. Yells for him, and Nomu start pulling up everywhere. Even Bakugo got snatched up. All Might started screaming. It was looking bad. They started fighting them off, but at the other hideout, the man himself made his presence known. All for one. Best Genius tried to hold them, but it was useless, and a big explosion happens. Everybody was knocked. Best Genius tried to get an attack off, but got a hole blown in his stomach. Had all the students shook, they ain't know what to do. All for One brings the league out and tells them to take Bakugo, but then All Might swooped in to attack All for One, but he catches it and the impact sends the league of them flying. All for One belongs in the Rage Bait Hall of Fame. He was making sure to get into All Might's head through this fight. All Might comes in but gets sent back immediately by All for One. Bro can really take and use anyone's quirk and give them to someone else. Sounds familiar. All for One force activates Kurogiri's quirk to get the gang out of there. All Might comes back but gets kept at bay, while Bakugo ain't trying to dip with them, dodging it from getting grabbed. That's when Deku comes up with a plan, and Kirishima's the main piece. As All for One and All Might holding hands, Deku, Ida, and Kirishima blast through the wall, and Shoto gives them a ramp of ice. Since Kirishima grew close while in school, he tells Bakugo, "Come on, twin!" That's all Bakugo needed to hear to get up out of there. Shigaraki was hitting the darn it, and the league tried to catch him, but Mount Lady came in clutch to help him escape. Gran Torino dropped him quick as hell too. All for One decided to take Magna Quirk for a second and get the gang up out of there. For good this time. All Might tries to throw a punch, but All for One used Gran Torino as a meat shield. He yanks him out of the way this time, and the attack pushes them back. All Might comes back in, grabs his arm, and punches him into the ground. Bro started yapping, so much so we saw Nana Shimura, the holder before All Might. He got tired of the rage bait and almost gets a hit off. All for One decks him in the air, and Gran Torino saves him from crashing into the helicopter. All for One charges up another attack but aims at the poor woman stuck in the rubble, this sick bastard. All Might gets in the way to block the attack, but doing that exposes his true form. Everyone and their mothers can see how chopped he is now. All for One also dropped a bombshell on this nigga saying Shigaraki is not a grandchild. Had All Might shook, screaming and all. Everyone watches start cheering him on, and All Might starts to charge up another attack, and Endeavor pulls up telling All Might to lock in. The Yapper himself wasn't trying to hear another Yapper, as he tried to get a shot off, but Edge Shot wasn't going to let that happen, as we see everyone else pull up as well. All For One wasn't fucking with that, lets off an attack to send Edge Shot and Endeavor flying. Then he starts to enhance his arm and add all his acquired quirks into one arm for a final strike. They both come in and both connect, but All Might was getting pushed back. Shrinks his arm, then weaves to switch to his other arm, and then hits. Then switch back again, and that hit sends All For One into the ground. Just like that, All Might stood over his body and lifted his fist in the air. Everyone was cheering like they won his championship. He points to the camera and says, "Now, it's your turn." Deku started crying. I'll let it slide this time. All Might retired, and the principal decides to make the students live on campus in dorms. After All Might and Eraserhead visited Bakugo's house to let the parents know, Bakugo asks All Might what is Deku to him. Of course, All Might wasn't actually gonna say, and Bakugo let it slide for now. While students was training, trying to make a signature move, Deku made his own using his legs instead of arms, called Shoot Style. Later, Bakugo pulls Deku to the side to talk about his quirk. They go outside to the spot where they had their first combat training, and Bakugo starts telling him he knows that All Might gave him his quirk, so he wants to see who's better. Wasted no time coming at Deku, and he dodges, but he come right back. Deku weaves, and Bakugo lets off another explosion. That alerts Aizawa that his students are fighting, but before he can go, someone stops him. Bakugo jumps and comes in, but Deku's still dodging, not wanting to fight Bakugo. He gets kicked in the chin, but Deku avoids his second attack. We find out Bakugo blames himself for All Might having to retire because he got captured. Deku starts fighting back and sends a kick and hits. Bakugo's response is another miss, but he not letting Deku breathe. As Deku dodges, Bakugo was waiting for him on the ground and punches him in the gut, sends him flying, but comes right back. Misses, but grabs him and throws him. Sends another explosion. Got this boy flying. Shoots a flashbang and punches him. Deku finally sends a kick of his own and connects. Bakugo comes flying in, so does Deku, and not gonna lie, this animation was cinema. Letting Deku hit this spin move and get this kick off is crazy work. He misses, and Bakugo sends him back. Deku comes back though, and they make sure to give all the angles. As Deku gets his punch off, Bakugo eats it and grabs him to send an explosion into the air to send him down to the ground and ends the fight. All Might pulls up and tells Bakugo it's not his fault he retired and not to blame himself. He confirms he gave Deku his quirk. From that day on, now they become proper rivals. Also at the end of the season, we get a sneak peek at Overhaul and the top 3 students of the UA, the Big 3. W season. Next, we start this season with Twice taking Overhaul to see Shigaraki in the League of Villains. Overhaul was part of the Yakuza, and he wasn't going for anything Shigaraki was saying, talking about, how about you join me in my Yakuza, and I'll run the league. Shigaraki in the lead was not taking that disrespect, as Magna decided to attack and Overhaul was ready, and one touch was all it took to get him gone. They was shook. Even me. Compress came in quick to retaliate, but gets hit by a bullet and his quirk didn't work. He lost his arm in the process. Shigaraki came from behind ready to end this, but he called the shield in time. Shigaraki packed that nigga up, so they decided to retreat and said, let's talk about this after we cooled off. Shigaraki knew he had to get it back in blood. All Might asks Mirio if he can introduce Deku to his ex-sidekick Night Eye for his work study. Night Eye tells him that he ain't fuck with what he's seeing and wanted Mirio to inherit one for all, so he decides to take Deku. Gave him 3 minutes to take the seal and stamp the contract himself. He was ready to lock in, but Night Eye could see all his moves, so sadly, after those 3 minutes, Deku ain't do shit. Bro couldn't believe it. At least he dodged all the All Might posters though. Night Eye decided to take Deku on anyway. He just wanted to see what he could do with his eyes. On the first day of his work study, he had Deku and Mirio do a patrol because he's looking into Overhaul, since they have been seen in contact with the League of Villains in a recent robbery. While on patrol, the boys tell each other their hero names, Deku and Lemillion. While they walking, a girl bumps into Deku. He tried grabbing her, but saw she was shaking, and we heard the man himself, Overhaul. His aura alone had them shook. Was diffusing the situation the entire time while Deku was finna say fuck it and save her now, but Overhaul got them off the street and into the alley. He reached to take off his glove and Eri knew what that meant and went back. When they got back to the hideout, this goon was supposed to watch her, and Overhaul wasted no time ending his life. Later, Mirio and Deku tell Night Eye and Bubba Girl what they saw, and Night Eye said, "Aight, we'll make our move, but let's be patient." Shigaraki ended up pulling up to see what Overhaul plan was and to see if they can strike a deal. Sue, Uraraka, Kirishima, and Deku end up going to the same way for their work study one day. They ran into the Big 3, as well as other pro heroes that also went to the building. Night Eye and his agency explains why he brought them all here and Overhaul's plan. Overhaul's plan is to distribute a drug to take away someone quirk for a certain amount of time, and he's using Eri to do it. The plan is to raid where they are and to retrieve her. Deku was ready for that noti, so was the big three. Overhaul and them knew that it was coming. Once the clock hit 8:30 a.m., it was go time. This motherfucker pulled out the warrant like that was finna do something. They was ready to stop these thugs though. Stop resisting! A few moments later, Mirio caught up to Overhaul trying to get Eri, and Overhaul was not getting through to him. He starts to leave and let his two goons handle him. They was no match. Let's be real. Mirio pulled up behind and he dodges, but Kurono gets hit and drops Eri for Mirio to catch. That's when the gloves came off, and Overhaul starts to destroy shit using the floor as a weapon. Mirio is able to dodge to keep Eri from harm. Kurono gets back up to aim his gun and shoots, but goes through his cape. Comes out the ground to knock Kurono away from his gun. Overhaul tries to attack Eri, but Mirio stops him in time. You see Kurono trying to go for the gun and stops him too. Punches Overhaul again. Out of nowhere, Nemoto, the goon from earlier, comes to bail him out. And Overhaul tosses him the ammo. He aims at Eri, and Mirio, the hero, saves her and takes the bullet and loses his quirk. That didn't stop him though, as he sends Kurono flying towards Overhaul. He gets a punch in and dodges. He's locked in until sadly got stabbed. Right when Deku and Ko pull up, immediately got a punch off on Overhaul. Sends him flying while Eraser erases his quirk. Night Eye grabs Mirio and Eri. Overhaul was mad he couldn't use his quirk and calls for Kurono at the last minute to bail him out, forcing Eraser to blink, keeping Deku at bay. He uses Nemoto's body and fuses with him to turn into a nasty ass monster. Kurono captured Eraser and is holding him until the fighting is over. And wait, is he gonna face reveal? Overhaul starts coming towards Night Eye and them, but Deku stops him, and he and Night Eye switch spots, throwing his weighted seals, and they miss, and he start dodging crazy, seeing all his moves right before they happen, until right before Deku was about to leave with Mirio and Eri, Night Eye got impaled. Not gonna lie, when he started screaming, talking about some "let me see it" to see if they escaped, gave me chills. That was all Deku needed to see to lock in. He powered up, showing he's able to use One for All at 20% now. He tries to get close, but Overhaul wasn't letting it happen. Deku launches off the ceiling to land a Manchester Smash, but misses. Then Overhaul got him. He cuts to Mirio, and he's cooked. Can't take Eri nowhere. That's when Overhaul had to hit his Talk No Jutsu, calling for Eri. Deku wasn't trying to hear that BS. Rips out the rock to get ready to box, but Uwabami and Uraraka and Su came crashing down. To see how that happened, he cut to Deku telling where they was at to Uraraka, and they start heading that way. But in reality, it was Toga. Yeah, the League wanted to take Eri for themselves by using Compress. Overhaul starts leaving with Eri, and Deku jumps after them. Then we see Eri looking at the remains of Mirio's cape, and that's when we got her backstory that she was the boss man's granddaughter, and her mom abandoned her after she accidentally killed her father. So boss man made Overhaul study her quirk. Her quirk was that she can rewind a person's body, but she can't control it, so it ends up killing that person if activated too long. She grabs the cape and starts falling into Deku's arms. Overhaul was mad as hell trying to kill this boy, but using his quirk, Deku got up out of there into the air. Overhaul uses the big nigga that crashed in there and starts to fuse again. Deku see a big ass rumble coming and got Eri out of there. Bro shows his nasty ass big monster form, while Deku look like he going Super Saiyan Blue, using One for All, 100%. Overhaul starts an attack, but Deku moves so fast he comes around to get off a smash and sends him in the air. Compress didn't do nothing since he was a clone. Overhaul wakes up and powers up another strike but misses, and Deku comes around to deal the final blow. Holy, this animation, popping him like popcorn. And bro, look at this frame, bruh. Imagine looking up and seeing this. The punch sends him flying down, got the mask flying and into the ground unconscious. We cut back to Kurono, about to kill Eraser, but one of the big three, Sun Eater, came clutch. After the fight was over, Eri had trouble turning off her quirk, and thankfully they got Eraser outside to use his quirk to stop her before she killed Deku. While the police was transporting Overhaul, the League popped out for that get back. Dabi sent out his fire, and the sand hero named Snatch popped out the car already. Shigaraki tried to touch him, but gets stopped by the sand, but Compress made the car flip over. Shigaraki lands on the hood of the transport and grabs the steering wheel to make them crash. Snatch saves the cop, but yeah, I ain't gonna lie, he went outside. They packed his ass up. I don't know why they only sent one hero to this day. Shigaraki gets the Overhaul and he starts monologuing. Compress takes his arm and Shigaraki takes the drugs. I'ma let the clip play.
You know what I think overall? Someone so obsessed with erasing quirks shouldn't have one of their own. Don't you agree? If we don't cut that off, your whole body will turn to dust. Just like that, you're helpless. A weak, quirkless loser.
Yeah, not gonna lie, W or farm. Later on, we see everyone and someone tell me why they made Rocklock have a snow bunny. Sadly, Night Eye's injuries couldn't be healed and he wasn't gonna make it. The scene was sad as fuck. Not gonna lie, talking to All Might one last time, and Mirio running in crying for his master not to leave him. Then him looking to his future to see him becoming a hero and dying with a smile on his face. Rest in peace. Now it's time for my GOAT to make his presence known. The new rankings for the heroes came out, and while they all showed the top 10, my GOAT made his entrance. Endeavor. After Hawk starts yapping for who knows how long, he gives the mic over to Endeavor, and he keeps it short.
So instead, just watch what I do.
While Hawks was telling Endeavor about the recent Nomu sightings, one pulls up right on him. It said, "Who's the strongest?" Endeavor wasted no time blasting him outside. We see his wife and kids talking and Natsu saying that he doesn't care about his family, but his wife disagrees. And we see her favorite flower that he brought in and visited her multiple times. Endeavor powers up his Hellfire. The Nomu dodges and grabs Endeavor and punches him into the building. Shout out to Hawks though, he was coming in clutch. Endeavor was charging up again and the Nomu was not waiting this time, but it didn't matter as he got hit with that prominence burn. Sadly, it wasn't enough as he regenerated and got stabbed up in his face too. Had his family shook as fuck, including me. Having the Nomu stand over him is crazy, making me think my GOAT was cooked. But he wakes up to get a blast off, but gets hit and flung into a building. People were in a frenzy, but this pink-haired boy, who people be calling him Yuji, was talking, saying Endeavor was still here, and here he was, chasing after this Nomu, takes a poke in the shoulder, and Hawks comes from behind. He gets knocked back. Instead, Hawks uses his feathers to boost Endeavor and punches him, but the Nomu eats it and starts punching back, so Endeavor says fuck it, and starts flying up high to let loose his flames. With that, he hit him with the legendary scream, and the plus ultra prominence burn comes crashing down, but in the end, he's still standing with his fist in the air and takes the dub. Had his son stressing. WS finale to a W season. I already know some people are gonna be butthurt that I skipped a certain character, so boo. Alright, season 5 about to be a speed run, so let go. We find out Hawks is working with the League of Villains, but as a double agent to get intel on him. We see the Todoroki's family having a dinner, and now he got a matching scar with Shoto. Natsu had a valid crash out and left. Deku sees the first person who had one for all, and it was all for one's brother. Later on, he unlocks a new ability, Black Whip. Hawks peeps on the League and finds out in 4 months Shigaraki gonna ruin the world. Deku, Shoto, and Bakugo go to Endeavor's agency for a work study. We see a shrine Endeavor had for his son, who died, Toya. Also found out Kurogiri is actually President Mike and Eraserhead's childhood friend Oboro Shirakumo. A guy named Redestro runs a group called the Liberation Army and wants to destroy the League while having any metahumans live and use their abilities however they please. Shigaraki and Redestro was boxing, and Shigaraki was looking cooked to the point we started seeing his backstory. And man, this shit was tragic. We see the hands, and those were of his family members. We see his sister being there for him while his dad ain't shit, leaving him outside and shit. But his sis found a picture of his grandma, Nana Shimura. Shigaraki quirk awakens while playing with the dog. His dad started pressing him. "What'd you see, boy?" And his sis ratted on him and said it was his idea and got slapped. While he was outside with the dog, he sadly killed the dog. Then his sister came outside to apologize, and yeah, she screamed and started running back inside, and he reached out for help, and she was gone. The rest of the fam came outside, and his mom tried to help, but it was no use. He couldn't control his quirk. The dad heard the noise and came out and saw everything and struck him to get him to stop. But when it came to his dad, Shigaraki had murder on his mind, and the house was gone too. Wow, what a backstory. While he was roaming the streets, All For One found him, and that's when he got the hands. We cut back to the present when Shigaraki had that voice change. Ooh wee! It was GG's. He beat Redestro, but instead they team up and join forces. The Liberation Army and League of Villains combine into one with a new name, Paranormal Liberation Front. Sadly, he was still weak, so he went into the hyperbolic time chamber. Next! So Hawks finds out from Twice that Shigaraki's in the hyperbolic time chamber in a hospital by Garaki, aka the Doctor. The entire police force and heroes' plan is to take out Shigaraki and the Paranormal Liberation Front all at once, separating into 2 teams, Team Endeavor and Team Edgeshot, as well as having UA students and heroes as support and rescue. I'm not going over every detail because this vid is already long as fuck, so I'm gonna go over what I want. Team Endeavor wasted no time going into the hospital looking for the Doctor, and they caught his ass lacking. Eraser got his chopped ass. Sadly, his Nomu was ready for the all-out war. Mirko was ready for these ones, going crazy and finding the real Doctor's lab. Had him screaming. She was a one-woman army. Even the Nomu that crushed her arm wasn't enough. Put legs on bro, and it attacks, but she dodges and rips his head off. Wraps her arm up and gets back at it. Twice is held captive by Hawks, and Twice wasn't going out without a fight, but it was useless. And right before Hawks could end him, Dabi bailed him out. Hawks was too quick though, and still kills Twice anyways. Twice gets a clone off to save Toga and Compress from this hero, and gets to say goodbye to Toga. Mirko makes it to the doctor and gets stopped, but Endeavor came in clutch and she cracks it. Shout out to Endeavor for patching her up. President Mike's shout breaks it open and Shigaraki falls out. President Mike punches the shit out of the doctor and drags his ass out of there, while Exless stays behind with Shigaraki, which I don't know why they chose him of all heroes, but fuck it. Obviously, he wakes up and that boy was cold. Palmed Exless head, and that was GG's for him. Didn't hesitate to take the drip. Tokoyami saves Hawks. We cut to Deku, and he can feel the aura. All the heroes had to get out of there immediately, as Shigaraki activated his quirk and everything was getting destroyed. Did the hospital like Pain, the hidden leaf? As we basked into the drip, he calls for Gigantomachia to wake his ass up and grab the League. He started to hear the voices, and Endeavor came to attack, but yeah, he ain't do nothing for real. Shigaraki got multiple quirks too now, then said he wants one for all. Deku heard that and got the fuck up on out of there with Bakugo. Later on, Eraser is able to erase Shigaraki's quirk, and still Endeavor's attack does nothing, as Shigaraki sends the two flying. Standing over my goat and doing his celly is crazy. Bro got the physical upgrade, like the nigga is buff now. He starts to target Eraser, but Deku comes through. Bakugo, Deku, and Endeavor get a combo off that was so clean. Mount Lady tries to stop Gigantomachia, but it's not enough. Midnight ain't do shit either. She contacted Momo to tell her and some of her classmates to stop that big nigga. Random villains really walking her down. That combo ain't keep him down for long as he went for Eraser again. Tatsuma and Deku slow him down and gets a hit off, but it wasn't enough as he shoots Eraser with the drug in the leg. But Eraser was quick as fuck and cuts off his ankle. Sadly, it was enough for Shigaraki to break free and was able to get Eraser. He gets his fingers on his face, but Deku pulls him away. Imagine this being your POV, bro. Shoto pulled up in time. Shigaraki wasn't healing from his wounds since he wasn't ready to come out yet. Deku grabs everyone and unlocks Nana's quirk, Float. Put the rest of them down and started beating the brakes off of Shigaraki while fucking up his arms in the process. Shigaraki didn't know what to do. Deku said, "Nigga, move that weak shit, I'm here!" Thanks to Bakugo and Shoto, Endeavor gets launched to burn up Shigaraki, but All For One took over his body and stabbed up Endeavor. He tries to attack Deku, but Bakugo takes the bullet. That made Deku lock in and start dodging and got close, but All For One palmed him, trying to steal One For All, but the Vestiges said hell nah and pushed him out. Ida and others started to pull up, and that's when the big nigga showed. All For One in his head, happy as hell. Big nigga sent them flying and grabs his master's body. Then Dabi decided to drop the bombshell of hell. Dabi was really Toya Todoroki. He wasn't dead this whole time. He had a recording broadcasting to the whole country at the same time, exposing Endeavor's family's life and how shit of a dad he was. Dabi was having the time of his life. Endeavor couldn't move. He monologues about how he thought he died because the peak they trained at went up in flames. All that was recovered was his jaw. Had Yuji Jr. crying. Before Dabi could even get his own prominence burn off, Vestigenus makes his comeback. His entrance was so clean too, I'm not gonna lie. That ain't stopped Bobby from breaking free. Shoto was ready. Hato gets blasted and Ida saves her. Genus almost gets cooked, but Mirio shows up to save him. As Eri was able to give him back his quirk. Dabi almost ends Shoto, but Deku breaks that shit up. The big nigga finally falls down for good as the sedative Kirishima threw kicked in. W Momo. Compress breaks away from Genus, grabs Skeptic and Dabi, takes out Spinner to wake Shigaraki up. Mirio tries to stop them, but that punch wasn't enough. Spinner gets him to wake up, but it's All For One, controlling his body and sends Mirio flying. He recalls the Nomu to get out of there, but Deku was not letting him go. He uses Black Whip to catch up, but All For One sends him flying off. And with that, the Paranormal Liberation War was over. Damn near everybody got fucked up and cooked. Destro and a couple of lieutenants got captured. Over 16,000 members of the PLF were taken into custody. 132 members are on the run. Some of the UA students were mourning Midnight's death. Found out that Shigaraki revived himself off his dreams and hatred alone. All For One commanded all the remaining Nomus to break out his real body. And you know what that means. Yeah, All For One was breaking out this whole prison, and we saw some familiar faces escape along the way. Wasn't much convincing needed to get them to follow him. The near high-end Nomu and former inmates in 24 hours went on to attack 7 prisons and released even more. All For One tells the remaining league that he will wait for Shigaraki to heal before he becomes the absolute ruler, the Demon Lord. Goofy ass name. Deku meets the Vestiges and unlocks more quirks. The top 3 heroes told the citizens they can evacuate to UA and other schools with hero courses as emergency shelters. Deku left letters for Class 1A telling them that he's leaving UA and All For One is after him. It was time for Dark Deku. The drip was cold. Shindo and Tatami was patrolling and Muscular pulled up and was choking this nigga Shindo out, but Deku comes and hits Muscular in the back. W save. This fight was just a repeat of last time, now being able to use 45%. At least he had All Might and a few other heroes helping him. They even got him out here stopping racism, saving this heteromorph woman. While he was trying to use his communicator, that shit got sniped out of his hand. Then we see her. Another bad bitch. Former Public Safety Commission hero Lady Nagant had Deku moving, but them bullets got aimbot. She was not missing thanks to her quirk called Snipe. All for One gave her the mission to take Deku and bring him back to him. He even gave her another quirk to help with it, and it was Airwalk. Deku came up with a plan though, using his new quirk, Smoke, and one he's trying for the first time, Fajin. The plan low-key worked though, baited the fuck out of her, and came through the building to get close. It wasn't enough as he got gut checked. He tries to come back in again, but she aims for Overhaul instead to give Deku a dilemma. And of course, as the hero he is, goes to save him using Fajin, and does. Comes back and launches himself at Nagant to break her sniper. Still tries to save her, but sadly All for One knew she would fold and blew her ass up. Got her burnt to a crisp. Hawks comes and catches her as Endeavor grows to grab Overhaul. Had Deku seeing red. Later on, we see Class 1A gets Endeavor to come to tell him that they want to help Deku. Everybody needs friends like this, I swear to God, bruh. They got his location and come clutch to stop a villain named Dictator. Deku wasn't trying to hear nothing they had to say and decides to run away, but Class 1A was not letting him go, as their plan was to boost Ida into the air with the help of Shoto and Bakugo worked. Even Bakugo apologized for bullying Deku. With that, they brought him back. We even got a 13 face reveal. Why she look good though? The citizens staying there did not want his ass in there, since they know All for One was looking for him. Uraraka came through for him and fought for him. Her speech, it even made Deku fall to his knees. This random dude was spitting too. Let me play some of it.
Before things got bad, I felt like the pros were just performers on a stage. We watched an extraordinary man named All Might show us what a hero really was. We applauded him and wanted to be him. And somewhere along the way, we forgot that he was a person.
This nigga's spitting right now.
All Might visited his statue, but Stain was there too. Not believing he was an early All Might, he showed him a woman that comes there every day to clean his statue, because that was the last person he saved. As long as there was people to pass on the torch, people would still believe in heroes. Stain gave him some info he got. We found out Shigaraki's body will be complete in 3 days. We even got a sneak peek at the United States #1 hero, Star and Stripe, All Might's disciple. Yeah, these Japanese niggas got it with the names. Now, to the final season of the video. We wasted no time with Shigaraki pulling up on Star, trying to steal her quirk. Shigaraki strikes first but fails, as she makes this nigga choke on air. Her quirk New Order allows her to change the properties of anything she touches and commands it to do something else. They just try to finish him off with lasers, but he sends it to her. She catches it and makes it touchable. She lands on this nigga and says,
Tomura Shigaraki makes a single move. His heart will stop beating.
Only if she knew that All for One was inside of him too. His hair starts to grow, and he sends her back with a shockwave. She makes an air version of herself and sends him flying, then claps her hands together, grabs the lasers from the jets and speared into him, then grabs the missiles, and the attack lands with a big ass explosion, but sadly, that ain't work. Shigaraki used the K at the perfect time to dodge her attack. He jumps up to steal her quirk, and instead of sacrificing her bros, she gives herself up. With that, he takes New Order. Psych! Right before she got grabbed, she made a new rule for New Order to revolt against any other quirk it touches. It was beating his ass on the inside. The Jets tried to fry him once and for all, but he got up out of there and escaped by sending the EMP at him. Ethan and the crew met with All Might to give him the data they recorded from the fight. Later on, we see Hagakure trailing Ayama, and we find out the reason the League of Villains attacked the USJ in their summer camp was because of him. He was the rat all along. Mainly because of his parents ain't want him to grow up quirkless, so All for One gave Ayama a quirk and blackmailed them. Hagakure went and got Deku, and he couldn't believe it. He subdued them and brought him to everyone else. They came up with a plan to use Ayama and his family to lure All for One out and then fight him on their terms. We see Ayama lead Deku out here by himself, and All for One shows up happy as fuck. He can take one for all, but he was mistaken. He brings out everyone, and so did the heroes. With that, the all-out war began. The heroes' plan was to separate everyone and fight in different locations. It was working until Bakugo and Deku were in the wrong places, thanks to Toga. Guess what she said to him?
I want you to be my boyfriend.
Where the heck is that coming from?
Yeah, she got it. He wasted no time to get the fuck up out of there using Fajin. The first match we turn to is Dabi against Shoto. You already know the fire show was on display. Shoto starts using his ice for a final attack and hits Dabi in the stomach, then uses Great Glacial Air that freezes over Dabi, ending the fight. Turns out he was still alive. Meanwhile, All For One was up against Endeavor and Hawks, and of course he was rage baiting, telling Endeavor, "You couldn't even find your son." That was enough to pack Endeavor up. Just before Hawks got blasted, Tokoyami and Jiro came through. All For One said, "Fuck them kids." Hawks came clutch with his feathers. They saved them, but they took some damage. Jiro wasn't giving up, letting them have it. While Hawks came and sliced off his mask, Tokoyami comes up and deals a smash of his own. Demon woke up and attacks, but it was Endeavor that takes the hit, and his hand comes off, but still keeps going to get blocked. Bro was using his flames as a hand.
Put up a dogged fight. But you're giving me flashbacks to that terrible day. Wounded heroes really are the most frightening animals.
Endeavor launches his punch and smashes him into the ground. Goes back up to deal another blow and starts dragging this nigga through the ground. All For One tried to steal his quirk, but he hit him with the lasers like he's Superman. Takes him into the sky and starts to burn him up. Sadly, that didn't end him, as he took a drug thanks to the doctor that had Ares' blood in it. That's when we see he starts to rewind. We see Bakugo trying to go in to attack Shigaraki. That shit was so bright, Aizawa had to make sure Monoma doesn't blink. Shigaraki caught his arm and snapped that shit. Everyone tried to come in at once, but he got flung away. Bakugo wasn't done though, as he tries to get him point blank. Shigaraki tries to swing, but misses. Comes from behind him, but Shigaraki saw that weak shit and got him right in his chest. Sends everyone trying to save him flying again. Genist tried to heal him, but Bakugo was dead, not breathing. We cut to Dabi waking up and All For One healed up too. Naked as hell, by the way. Even Endeavor couldn't believe his eyes. All For One dropped down and wasted no time taking Shorty's quirk. Headshot tries to do CPR, going inside Bakugo on his heart. The big three started getting pieced up while Mirio was getting ignored. Mirio did the one thing he could do, and that's... Yeah, alright bro. That distraction was enough as Deku came through and hits with a smash. Deku tries to say sorry he late, but he sees Bakugo dead and everybody else cooked as hell. He started going into the avatar state, losing control, but Mirio was able to calm him down and tell him to lock in. So lock in, he did. Shigaraki throws the first punch and Deku blocks, using Black Whip and Fajin combined to make a chain and send him flying. Sets up another quirk, Gear Shift, came in quick as fuck and let him have it. Comes from behind and lets off a smash. Dog, can you believe this the same crybaby nigga from the beginning? Shigaraki gets back to swing, but whiffs. Then Deku said, fuck it, I'ma use all my quirks combined into one attack. Shigaraki was ready to throw one too, and they connect, but Deku's was more powerful and lands and put a hole in his man's chest. Bro healed that shit right back. Then Kurogiri's alive and kicking, and then Mike threw his warp. Then we cut to All For One saying that was his plan, brings out Dabi for Endeavor, and Twice, aka Toga, for Hawks. She had a lot of clones ready. Uraraka and Sue followed through the warp in time. Twice clones got sent to where Aizawa was too, as they land on Monoma and forced him to blink, letting off a big ass explosion from Shigaraki. While Deku took a minute to recover, Skeptic hacking ass gets a call from one and only La Brava, who hacked them before in the past. Bro had PTSD and got the fuck up on out of there. Too bad Heroes was waiting for his ass outside. While Mandalay and them was still having trouble and was still falling, one man, the man himself, yes, gentle criminal, pulled up. La Brava was happy as hell for her man. The man who stopped a bunch of prisoners from escaping from one of the prison breaks. Jumps up and keeps the coffin in the sky afloat. Once Deku saw who it was, bro had tears too. Before Shigaraki could touch the ground to decay, a shot rang off, then another to hit him. Lady Nagant fine ass was back in action, stopping Shigaraki from touching the ground. Then Deku wasted no time to tackle Shigaraki outside of the coffin, so he can protect everyone else. Hawks tries to chase down All For One so he can't make it to Shigaraki, but gets caught lacking. But nope, it was Kami's quirk, and the Shiketsu Ha came through as backup. Tokoyami gets a hit off with Dark Shadow. All For One ate it, and he healed by becoming even younger. He jumps up and puts down Tokoyami and Hawks, and takes Hawks' quirk so he can fly faster. Endeavor is trying to run from Dabi to lead him away, but he catches up, clearly not all the way there anymore. Endeavor says fuck it, grapples him to take themselves out. Ice gets shot from the distance, and it's Rei, his wife, trying to prevent that from happening, and as well as Fuyumi and Natsuo. With the help of Ida, Shoto makes it in time to let off his Great Glacial Air, stopping Dabi aka Toyo once and for all. Uraraka is trying to stop Toga. We see her backstory about how her parents were ass, and it's not her fault she needs blood to use her quirk. Toga stabs Uraraka in the process as she's trying to hit her with that Talk no Jutsu. It takes a while, and it eventually works. stopping all the clones in the process. Uraraka has lost too much blood and she's bleeding out. Toga takes some of her blood to transform into her, using her needles to put her blood into Uraraka. While stitching her up and being able to save her, Toga passes away. All Might was outside waiting for All For One and puts on this mecha suit to fight him. All For One was ready as well. All Might uses a combination of his students' quirks as an attack, using Deku's shoot style, sending this nigga back. All For One made sure to use a combination attack of his own. All Might jumps back up to punch him, and he eats it, shooting an attack through his chest. That wasn't enough, as All Might injected into him a serum named Pinky. All Might gets sent flying, and the damage has made All For One even younger. All For One starts getting big, as All Might is laughing as he gets more add-ons. Then we cut to Deku fighting Shigaraki, and we get the side-by-side. And with that, that's the end of the season. That was all the peak I wanted to cover, and if you haven't, you definitely have to watch it yourself. So until next time,